Welcome in to Moving the Change, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. I'm Kevin Thomas alongside Drell Hendricks. We've got a great interview today. A very special guest, the new head coach of the Wagener-Salley War Eagles, Blaze Gillespie. Coach, how you doing today?
Doing well, man. Thank you for having me.
We appreciate your time. We really do. If this is you guys' first time tuning in, be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter/X, Instagram, YouTube, and more at Movin Chains, our website, movinchains.com, and our podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. Coach Gillespie was hired in February. He was the co-defensive coordinator at Camden for the past 2 seasons. Prior, he spent time at Lee Central and Douglas Byrd High School in North Carolina. Coach, let's start there. What's that transition been like going from Camden to getting settled in now over here at Wagener-Salley?
The transition's been great for me. I mean, I had great administration, great athletic director and head football coach, Brian Remp at Camden. Understood the promotion, understood that it was growth in this business, and has been nothing but mentor to me. Has tried everything to help me out every step of the way. The bigger transition, I think, was from Lee Central to Camden. Going from 2A ball, now they're 1A. Going from five coaches to 15 coaches, and going from a county school where it's rural to a talent pool that was overflowing. There was totally different world, but I believe that transition, or at least my time at Lee Central, prepared me more for Wagener-Salley than anything.
Coach Gillespie, let's get into your background, not only in coaching, but your professional background. You're also a veteran, and we talked a little bit off air. Thank you for your service there. But, talk about how your background and how that's shaped your coaching career.
Well, I'll be honest, man. I was air defense in the Army, which is they make jokes about it. They call it alcoholics defending America. But to be honest with you, it's just because we're always hurry up and wait. We're Patriot missile. We shoot things that is shot at us, so we shoot it down before it gets to us. And a lot of times that '80s method of military is often not used. It's more trained and prepared, and it was a lot of uh, training and maintenance and preparing for something that may occur but not necessarily occurring. Ukraine is actually used more in that scenario that they've fell in here recently in the past couple of years, have used Patriot more than we ever have. So we've shipped the majority of our stuff over there. We're along with our guys going over there to take care of that business. But um, I got into 2011 where I returned from South Korea in 2010. I was at Fort Bragg, home of the airborne. That whole mentality where it was true Army. It was big boy Army, and I fell in love with it to the certain degree that I was ready to reclass and go more of an infantry type background. And in 2011 July, my wife found out she was pregnant and put that in the bud real quick. Um, so I was coaching already. I was coaching rec ball and at Douglasburg, and I was it was either reclass or get out and go to school. And I was already in love with coaching, and I just needed to find the parameters to get to where I need to be as far as to support my family and make sure financially we were okay to do what I do. And my wife, she's a pediatric ICU nurse at the Children's Hospital in Columbia. With her RN background, it allowed us for me to go be a teacher, and go back to school. And she loves her career. I love mine. It's a perfect world. I got a great supporter at home, and it's phenomenal in that aspect because we both do what we love, and that's really hard to find, or at least hard to maintain a financial. I guess the best word is stability. With that said, I got out in 2012. Was already enrolled at Methodist University in Fayetteville. I went there for 3 years. I had the GI Bill, so I went straight through. I didn't take no summers off. I was done in 3 years, and then I transitioned to West Virginia University for athletic coaching education for grad school. Got there, it was really full of research. It was supposed to be a little bit more practical. So after 3 or 4 years in the Douglasburg era with Coach Stone, Russell Stone, which is a phenomenal mentor still to this day, and his son even is a mentor to me, a good best friend of mine as well. Trip Stone was at Mallard Creek for a long time as defense coordinator, now at Butler in North Carolina. Phenomenal friend, still a great mentor, but being in that era with them where we were very successful and played some really good competition, that aspect of transitioning to West Virginia was supposed to be based off career and experience, and the acceptance was supposed to be as well. And when I got there, I found some new grads from business and admin, and I just kind of fell into a trap almost of the educational world. And I got out as soon as I got in. And I was there for a year, and I went back to work in Pittsburgh. And my wife's actually from Pittsburgh. So,
Okay.
we had a lot of family up there that we were away from for 6 or 7 years. So it was good to be there for a year, but that weather is no joke. It's not for me. I'm a Southern boy. When it was 40 degrees outside and I wanted to put some shorts on, I knew it was time to come home. So uh, I've been in South Carolina ever since 2017. Love every bit about my state. I love everything that we focus on academically and athletics. It's phenomenal the culture differences that you get across the state, but it is phenomenal to see the growth we're headed in as far as how athletics match up against other states.
So, Coach, you mentioned you've been a coach now for a while. You've been in different programs and whatnot. How did you kind of know that you were ready to take that next step to be a head coach? You mentioned Coach Rimp, understanding it's a great advancement opportunity, but how did you know yourself that, hey, this is something that I'm ready for at this point in my career?
Well, I'll be honest with you, man. Justin Danner is the reason I'm a head coach today. Justin prepared me more than anybody I could imagine. Like, don't get me wrong, Russell and Tripp was phenomenal, but I was branching in. I was still young. There was an understanding where I was as a coach from them. So they were not as aggressive with coaching me up to a degree where they demanded something from me because they knew I was still in school. I had a newborn at home. My wife worked third. It was a wild time. There's final exams and papers due, and I'm changing diapers and feeding bobbles and going to school during the day, coaching by night. There was a lot of demands on me at that point, and they understood that. So they gradually worked me in to the point where I had responsibility, but they knew where to draw the line. Uh, when I got to Lee Central, I thought I knew I was a coach, and I thought I was a coach. But even in 2017, we had 10 coaches, but there was still a demand. There was when I got there, I put it like this: they went to camp the last week of July. I got there the week before, and the week before the kids is a dead period. So I was in meetings with the coaches. The defense coordinator at the time, Lester Davis, met with me on Mondays and Wednesdays. And Monday and Wednesday, I learned the entire defense and my responsibilities within. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I showed back up and I taught him what he taught me. And that was his way of teaching me. And it almost forced you to go get on the board. I tell coaches all the time, if you can read it, draw it, speak it, and they understand what you're speaking, then you can coach it. But until that point, don't come to me if you can't draw it, and don't come to me if you can't explain it. Because if I don't understand it, those kids ain't going to get it. And that's the way they approached everything. Coming in the classroom randomly, there's been times where I would be teaching, and Coach Danner would walk in and start drawing something on my board and say, "Get to it when you get to it," and walk out. With that said, he was phenomenal, man. Him and Coach Davis was great. They were great teachers and mentors, and that was the best thing about them. They knew what I wanted to be, and they knew how to get me there. And they were not easy. They were always teaching. They were always educating. They were always growing. And that was the greatest thing I learned from them, is to learn how to grow the coaches up under you, know who they are. Not every coach is going to be an X and O guru. Not every coach is going to be, the same. What's the best way? Go getter. Like you are. They're not going to work as hard as you are in certain areas, and you got to be okay with that. You got to find what they're good at. Are they a community guy? Are they good at this or that? There's certain things. Are they a strength and conditioning coach? Are they better at relationships? Are they a rah-rah guy? Do they got that voice and that tone at practice that's necessary in certain situations and certain position groups? Identifying all those things, but not only that, growing me along the way. One thing he always chirped on was be where your feet are. Don't worry about learning what the safeties are doing and what the corners are doing. Worry about what the linebackers are doing. Teach that, master that craft, and the rest is going to come before you know it. I remember that first summer coming out of the season, I was so itching to learn everything. I wanted the offense, the defense, every single position, how to teach it, how to alignment, assignment, stance, starts, everything. But it was like, whoa, slow down. Master this, because you still got growth to find in this area. And once I understood that and I attacked it, man, it was nothing but uphill from there. I got into the special teams world as well, coordinating that at Lee Central with Coach Jody Balaam. We were kind of tag teamed that a little bit. And then when I got to Lee Central, I kind of took them over that second year. And, we scored 109 points on special teams, just that year. So, I mean, it was phenomenal. You just, whatever you do, you got to buy into it and make it yours. Like I was the head coach, but I was the head coach of special teams. And that's the way you got to treat it. Nobody else is going to work as hard as you, but you shouldn't expect nobody to either. And once you go into it and you work that demand and don't put your expectations on your life on somebody else's life, as a coach or as a person, you can't expect walking through this world and be mad at somebody for making a choice when you wouldn't do the same thing because you don't know their goals, their life, their ambitions, whatever. So with that, you just approach everything like that, man. And with those kids, you learn how to finesse these days. The world is totally different. You got to know how to approach each kid on an individual basis and know that kid, know their interests, and attack it that way. And that's what I did, man. We got the special forces. That's what we called it at Camden. I created that. The media. I made sure that we had PowerPoints. Like we had team meetings every day, guys, and it was special teams, and it was Coach Rimp then me. And I was the only coach in front of the entire group. We're talking 112, 115 kids plus. And from ninth grade team to JV to varsity, special teams was me. And now I had some coaches help out, obviously, run their particular, punt team, mainly punt team and kickoff return. I had some coaches that helped out with that, but when it come to punt, it was me and Coach Rimp. That's the way it worked. This most important one out there, and just having those opportunities to lead, that big of a group, having to be organized, having to be on point, having to be prepared, build that into a practice schedule every single day, and making sure that we spread it out accurately and appropriately to make sure we put enough time on each one. Really prepared me, but not only that, I think the mentorship I gained along the way, those coaches, man, without them, without Coach Stone, without Tripp, without Coach Davis, without Coach Danner, without Brian Rimp, and I got to say another one, Coach Calvin McCroy. He is longtime basketball coach for 20 plus years around the Sumter area, made his way to Lugoff, and then jumped ship across the bridge there to Camden, has been there for the last 10 years or so. Phenomenal friend of mine till this day. He checks on me every single day. The best heart I ever met in my entire life. Good man, good mentor. He's been doing this for a while. I remember times coming in the office just complaining about my kid, man. And he says, man, you had no idea. It could always be worse. It could always be worse. And always having that positive impact and trying to find the good in everything. You know, I'm a firm believer in Jesus, man. And I believe that, you know, it's crazy because if you come to practice, sometimes you might not believe me, you know, but because my words might get a little out of character at times, but I can tell you, man, there's good in all things. There's good in all things. And when you find the good and the bad, man, and having someone in your corner like Coach Calvin McCroy that always reminds you of that and brings you back to, you know, that humility and brings you back to that reality that, hey, man, life is good. You just got to look around and remember it. You know, so having all those people in my life, that's what prepared me, man. Having a wife that was going to follow me and support me no matter what. You know, there was never a question. It's like, if that's what you want, go get it. We'll make it happen. And having that, you know, because most coaches, man, our wives are fathers and mothers majority of the time. And not only that, but working, you know, she's the floor manager on the pediatric ICU floor. So having all that and being that, you know, without that, I couldn't be who I am today. So, having those people in my life, man, that's what prepared me more than X's and O's and experience.
Coach, how's that staff shaping up? Have you completed it? Do you have any vacancies? And you know, you talked about the different personalities necessary, you know, to, you know, have a cohesive and you know, informative, important staff. You know, so who are maybe some guys that is going to lead those lead your young men as assistants?
Well, going in the door, you know, Coach Fox did a phenomenal job there, but you know, he had maybe 4 coaches total, including himself, that last year. And you know, 4 is tough. 4 is really tough, and 5's tough, and that's what we're working with right now. However, I'm happy with it. You know, I know I got the right guys in there. You know, if we added 1 or maybe 2 more along the way, that wouldn't be such a bad thing. But man, I'm character over everything. You know, I'll teach you what I need you to coach. I'll teach you how to be a better coach. But your character's got to be solid, and that's what I focused on. When I went in, I was slow to hire. I made sure that I evaluated thoroughly on every person that I did bring into the picture, because I went and I searched out people in the community first, you know, because there's some guys there that are one that's in the building. His name's Leonard Bynum. Bynum is a worship leader in the community, and he's also in the building every single day. He's a advocate for the school. He's on staff at the school. So having him in the building, it was you know, almost necessary for me to get him. He's the head wrestling coach as well. You know, another dominant position that you need to have on your staff is, you know, other coaches, other head coaches, you know, because at a 1A school, it's got to be a team. And we all got to approach these athletes in a way that says, hey, man, we're for you in all sports, but we need to share you appropriately and make sure that we're on the same page with that. You know, Coach Andrews, he was on staff last year. He's a baseball coach. He's doing a pretty decent job, man. He's turning things around a little bit at a time, and he's being very patient on his staff. But you know, he's in the Legion ball and doing a lot of things now that kind of took him away from football, which I completely understand, man. You know, like I said earlier, your path and your growth, I'm for you. I'm not against you. So, you know, with that, you know, took him away from football, and then the athletic director, the O-line and D-line, well, actually the defense coordinator as well, Corey Erskine, he moved into that athletic director role. So with that said, you know, took him away from football. So coming in, I had to build a brand new staff. You know, so Leonard Bonham was one that I approached immediately, had a conversation with him, you know, learned who he was. That's the biggest thing, man. I go and I seek you. I want to know, you know, I want to meet your wife. I want to know who your family is. You know, I want to know how they, you know, you run your home, you know, to a certain degree, because, and for the most part, I want to know how your wife feels about me taking you away from her, because that's what's going to happen. You know, I told them, all right, kiss your wife, tell them goodbye, see you in December, because that's the way it is in this world. And, you know, making sure that those communications and those conversations happen with your coaches way before you ever get to the question of saying, hey, would you like to be on our staff? Because that's where I want to make sure that I grow them as men and as coaches, So that includes being a great husband and understanding and being a great communicator. So with that first, you got to make sure you approach those conversations first and building those staffs. I got a younger coach. I got two younger coaches. I say younger. I'm 34, and they're 30 and 29, or just turned 30, and one just turned 31. So or 30. So with that said, I got two 30-year-olds. I got one in their 40s, and I got one in their late 50s. So we're a mixed crowd. It's a good crowd. I got my offense coordinator that I brought in. I tell him all the time. I say, look, man, I'm the architect of this thing, but you're going to run it. Because I can't do it all. And for the most part, I was trying. And then again, I got those mentors in my life, and they say, hey, give it up. Give one of them up. You can't do it all. You can't give it all to one side or both. So you got to find a way to delegate that the best you can. And Chris Proctor, he come from AC Floor, was unemployed there, done a great job there. He's been at Palmetto Prep as well. He was at USC, been in recruiting a little bit in that college world, done a phenomenal job everywhere he's been. He's come right in. He come sat at the same kitchen table that I'm sitting at right now for days on end and learned our system, learned our offense, and put in the time. And he's slowly taking the reins. He's done a phenomenal job so far in the spring and the summer. And he's going to handle those offense coordinator responsibilities. And so far, he's done really great. And then I got Rodriguez Dunbar. He was a guy in our community with middle school, and he was at the what we call the Bulldog Club. It's kind of like Camden's Youth Bulldogs there in Camden. It's very similar. We don't have rec football in our community, so they are the rec community football. So with that said, he's organized, run that, CEO, president, all that for years, and then kind of handed it off. And they tag teamed that, another guy as well. Antonio Sweat, they tag teamed that for a good bit there. But one took basketball reins and one took football reins and ran with it. And they've done a phenomenal job with that. So, seeing that investment, because, hey, guys, at those levels, you ain't getting paid. You putting in all that work and you put in that hard work and all that time away from your family, and you're doing it straight from the heart. So when you see that type of character, you want to buy into that and bring that a part of your staff. And I told them, again, character is everything. I'll teach you what I need you to know. And, we spent 2 or 3 weeks in the classroom, and I did it the same way Lester Davis did it with me. Hey, I'm gonna teach you something, and I taught it all too. I went all the full blown coach. And I went in on that board, and they had their pencil and their paper. I said, "Y'all bring two notebooks, 2 pens, 2 pencils, and let's go to work." And of course, I overloaded them at first because I wanted it to be overwhelming. Because I told them, "Hey, you're coming to teach me next Tuesday. Let's go." And when they came in the door, I knew it was going to be a struggle because that's what I set them up for. I knew that going in. And then I started breaking things down a little bit because I wanted them to see that when you come back to teach it the first time, how much you're going to hiccup, how much you're going to stutter, how much you're going to lose thought and train of thought, and how quick that's going to happen. Because as soon as you do that with a child or a teenager, he's going to smell it. He's going to smell it quick, and he's going to know it. So with that said, we wanted to hone in on the stance, starts, alignment of every position, the fundamentals of the position. And we did that, and we spent weeks on it. And then we started going into coverage and how we play things and, reads and all that. So we broke it down to A to Z. I never assume anything, even for that 58-year-old man that's up under me, a great person and great leader among our community. But I'm not going to assume you know anything. I'm going to assume that this is your first time ever coaching football, and I'm going to teach you like that. So don't get insulted by me approaching your intelligence like that. But that's the way I have to, because I got to make sure that you're aware that exactly what I want, what my standard is, and what I want when I come over there to your position group, what I want to see. So, we got 5 guys, including myself. I coach the linebackers. We both coach both sides. We all coach both sides. Offense coordinator coaches D-line as well. Our defensive coordinator is pretty much me. Coach Bonham, coach O-line and D-line as well. Linebacker, outside linebackers. We got another coach that was in the community as well. He coached. He's been the head coach and assistant coach at the middle school for years. He's worked with the rec department as well, as far as maintenance and supervising and making sure those fields are appropriate and those kids are prepared out there. He's done a great job. Again, servant hearts. That's what I went and sought out. I went and found those guys that got really good hearts and willing to put in the work and time without needing anything in return. That was what I wanted first, and then I wanted to get them on the payroll. Show them that they're appreciated. That payroll ain't much, but it's something to say, hey, you are appreciated. And that guy, his son actually plays for us. His name's Raymond Chandler. His son's one of our quarterbacks, outside linebackers. Also plays a little bit of receiver as well. Because we got a couple quarterbacks, we're still trying to figure out things there. We got some great options back there, but I want to make sure that both of those kids get multiple reps in multiple positions. And Raymond Chandler's done a great job with our outside linebackers and our running backs. Drake Dunbar is our defensive back and receivers coach. So we're kind of our quarterbacks and inside linebackers. Just making sure that we put all the pieces together. We're about to put in special teams next week, and then we head off to USC for the 7-on-7. We got ladies clinic coming up, men's clinic coming up. We got a busy summer. We're going to Charleston for 3 days, so we got the next 2 weeks is going to be really busy for us. So make sure we hone in on those special teams, get them in here soon is imperative. So.
Well, Coach, not to get into too deep of secrets or anything, but what do you guys like to run scheme wise on both sides of the ball, and do you plan to call plays for that defense?
Yes, I will be calling the plays for the defense. We're going to signal stuff in. So, I'm going to have multiple guys doing their thing, but on the sideline. But, offense coordinator will be calling the offense. We'll have a signaler. He'll be in the box, but he'll be signaling it down or calling it down from the headset or whatnot. But offensively, man, with Wagener-Salley and their tradition, that's what attracted me to the job is they're not afraid to run the ball. They're not afraid to go out there and throw it 3 or 4 times a game. However, that is something I'm interested in. But being at Camden, I learned real quick when you get deep in those playoffs, you better have somewhat of a 50-50 system. You better be able to do both. You better have a balanced offense to the degree that whether it's hitting the perimeter off tackle or throwing the ball in RPO, you got to have some type of mix there. So that's pretty much what we're going to be, man. We're going to be heavy run. And we're gonna do a lot of tight end set. We're gonna have multiple sets where we're getting some heavy packages at times, but more importantly, we're going to utilize what they did really well and what they've been good at. And we're going to have some off tackle, and we're trying to hit the perimeter as well. But importantly, it's about taking care of that football and make sure our assignments are capitalized, because that's the biggest focus for me right now, man, is culture and install. I'm not supposed to win this year. I go in the door knowing that. I don't go in there thinking, okay, they've been 7-4, 12-2, 9-2. I gotta win. No, sir. That is not me. I'm there to install a culture and install a system, and weed out the bad, bring in the good, and build a family off discipline, trust, and love. And that's what we're focused on now. Our offense, we definitely got some. The 7-on-7 world brings to light that passing game, and we got passes, man. We're not a guy that's going to go out there and go off tackle, go to the perimeter, come back in the middle, and then throw our hands up. Because we don't have no answers. We're going to be an if-then team. You give it to us, we're going to take it.
Well, Coach, you touched on a couple players briefly, but who are some special guys that we need to be looking out for that are coming back to this year's team, or maybe some newcomers that you've seen in this offseason who've already made an impact?
Well, we definitely got some returners. First and foremost, Zamian Capers. He was a freshman last year, all region running back. You don't hear that much, so he is definitely a leader and force of athleticism and being on the field and knowing what to do. And he's starting to grow into a little bit of leadership. As far as making sure these young guys are running through cones and running through drills and finishing to the point and understanding the finish the play mentality. He is growing. And, again, you got to remember these kids. I don't care if you're all region or whatnot, but you're still 15, 16 years old. There's a lot of growing in that. And I'm tough on them, man. I'm tough on them. I want to make sure that every bit of adversity is faced in practice because I want to make sure they're comfortable in the game. So I'm tough on them. It's intense at practice. I'm tough on them as far as being men and growing into being men. I always go hard and then I walk it back and explain. And then, if I go too far, I make sure that, I apologize in front of the same people I'm embarrassed in front of, in front of the entire team. I'm a man and I'm humble. I know that men and adults make mistakes too. And I make sure that they know that we're human. And, if I go too far deep off on one of these kids, I make sure that I bring them in front of the same people that I did that in front of, stand in front of the crowd of players and say, hey, look, hey, man, I want to make sure I apologize, such. And then I teach from the moment. I make sure that my experience and their experiences in those moments are understood. And I tell them all the time, hear the message, not the tone, because my tone may take you to another place, but it ain't always the message. Another kid, that's doing really well is Isaiah Garvin. He's going to be O-line, D-line. He's a force to reckon with. Rayfield Bell, Kyrie Tyler. There are some guys that all three are returning. And then we got some other kids that's showing some light. Rayvon Chandler, he was our quarterback last year here at Wagener-Salley. He's done pretty dang good, leading our team. He got the leadership award during the spring. He's very, very coachable. He can take what you're teaching and apply it quickly. Gavin Starnes come out this year for the first time. He's a senior baseball player. He's battling at quarterback as well. He plays inside linebacker as well. Done a great job. First time out, he was taking opposition runs off the RPO and running off tackle. Nobody taught him that. The first time out, he was running full speed off the RPO handoff. And I'm like, whoa, that's, either he played Madden really well or, he's just a natural. And that's what we approached it as. So, offensively, we got Quentin Sims at receiver. Quentin Sims is coming in as a junior this year, probably standing about 6'3", 6'4", pretty tall, pretty lanky, pretty skinny. I was worried at first, I'll be honest, because, you see that skinny body and you're like, man, I hope he got quick feet getting off that line. And I'll be honest, man, every 7-on-7 experience we've had so far, he is a go-getter. He goes up and fights for that ball. He's a demon to be reckoned with on the edge, and they better be prepared for him. He also flips to the side and plays corner, and I'm going to tell you, he can lock him down. We got a great defensive back group. Jabbar Amos, he is a safety for us. Played corner last year. I moved him in safety just because of his athleticism and his experience. He's done really well. He's been to some camps like Newberry and was highlighted as well. We've had multiple guys go to camp and get recognition for it. And we got some other players, man. Honest Howell was our spring MVP. He lines up at wing. A lot of times he can play fullback, running back, receiver. He can do it all, man. He's a safety for us, comes downhill hard, runs that hump well, tracks that hip. He's very, very coachable, very mild-mannered, very, very for the team. And that's pretty much what I focus on the most with these guys is it's we before me. It's the War Eagles before me. And it's we, there's all those different acronyms you can put out there, but we fit perfectly because, we're the War Eagles and it's team before me. It's the culture over talent, no person over the team. We'll value the athlete but nobody over the team, and they've bought into that. And it took some weeks, man, because I was a culture shock. I got that military background. I got that 6'5" mentality. I used to be about 285 pounds, and I forget I ain't that no more. So my voice, I project it like we ready to fight sometimes, and I have to walk it down and calm it down sometimes. But I'm very demanding on these kids of being good men. Because in the end, I want you to be a good husband and a father and a good leader in your community, and that's my focus, man. And we got several guys like that. We got one, Mark Thatcher, lines up center for us and nose guard. Every single practice, after practice, he's kneeling and he's got a group of guys praying with him. And I'm gonna tell you, man, it started with 2, and now it's about 10 to 12 every time they're out there. And just seeing that growth among those kids, and I'm God first, and I love to promote that if it's asked, because I'm cautious at public schools. I know where I'm at, but I'm gonna tell you, when you got kids that are for God and put God first, man, the sky's the limit. Sky's the limit. When you got leaders like that on your football team, and they're not wearing a coach's polo, they're wearing shoulder pads and a helmet. That's a good and quality thing to have. And we got several kids, man. I want to shout them all out, man. I really do. But we got some guys. We got a guy named Trey James. He's homeschooled in our school district, in our district zone. Went to state for throwing for us in track. Phenomenal athlete. I'll tell you this, he had bungee lines on him, so he had that guy pulling him, but he ran a 4.4 with bungees. And he lines up at linebacker, DN, and guard, quick guard and strong guard for us. So he is a force to be reckoned with, and I can't wait to see him pull around that edge, man. I cannot wait. That first kick out is going to be phenomenal because he's itching. He's itching right now. Guys, I know we're at 40 minutes right now. I can tell you this. I can go on all day long, and to any kid or athlete that I didn't mention, I just want to apologize ahead of time because this will be on social media, and I want them to know that each one of our kids is very special to me, and they're doing a phenomenal job, and I just want them to keep working and being working each step slowly, patiently, and fundamentals first.
Coach, got a couple more for you here before we let you go. I guess we're through spring practice, kind of getting into the summer stuff now. What have you learned about your team so far, and what do you hope to learn about them, the next few weeks here before you get ready to hit that fall camp?
I learned that athleticism sometimes trumps talent. Experience. Sometimes they're getting out there, they're getting in the right places, really quickly, and they can capitalize quickly, and they can make up for their shortcomings on learning the system, with their athleticism. However, when we get to that ball on defense, I've learned that, we got to be aggressive with our hands. I'm a firm believer in finish at the ball, so if you come to my practice and you see an outside run and we're on team D, I want to see all 11 hats go and tag off on that runner. If you're on offense, I want you to finish in the end zone running that ball, every time. Now, if we're on the 10-yard line or 20-yard line or negative 10-yard line and negative 20-yard line, I don't want you running 80 yards because we got another play to run. But I want you to finish about 30 and 40, no doubt. So they're, if I had to say anything, they're welcoming and they're eager. With that said, that's approaching the systems. That's approaching my coaching mentality. They want discipline. If I didn't tell any kid what to write or what to say, and if you look in those newspapers and Aiken Standard and stuff, and seeing the words that I'm saying every day, I told them in my interview, I said, look, a successful program is when their voice becomes your voice, or your voice becomes their voice. And when you know as well as I know that when you got a player-led team, you got something special. And that's what I want, and that's what we're working towards. And seeing discipline, trust, and love repeatedly stated by several of our kids in that newspaper article, was, a good eye on what we're trying to get accomplished, because that's what I'm preaching. It's discipline, it's trust, and it's love for each other and this program and what we got going. So seeing that, man, that's first and foremost to me, the culture and approaching the culture and learning how to get through the culture shock and that adversity and being able to take tough coaching and be able to go through adversity and having to bear crawl because you made a mistake and how you reacted and getting up and coming back to the huddle and running the next play or getting beat on a deep ball and coming back and lining up and forgetting it. Those things you can't teach it, you can only rep it. And the only way you rep it is going through those experiences and that adversity and being able to mentor those guys through those moments. That's where our focus is as far as, growing their mentality, because football is emotional, but you can't play it emotionally. And that's the biggest thing that they got to understand, and especially on defense, and that's been my goal, to kind of help them shape that mental toughness, and grow that mental toughness. So, I got a lot of different things that, we're trying to, almost create, at this juncture of the summer. So going in, man, I'm learning that we got some ball hawks. I'm learning that, we got some speed. We got some guys with some good understanding and background on defense. On offense, we got a guy we got two guys that can, which is going to be a tough decision, man. I'm telling you now. And I already told Coach Chandler, I said, look now, I said, if your kid don't make the cut on first string, I said, I don't want to hear nothing. I said, I give him a hard time all the time. And I always try to remind him, don't coach him, at practice, or on 7-on-7, don't coach him, let me coach him, because he's going to react to you as dad. He ain't going to react to you as coach. So let me do that hard coaching. You support your kid, and he's done a phenomenal job of that. But I always remind him, give him a hard time about that. And but man, I learned that they love these coaches, man. They love Wagener-Salley. I learned that, I will say this now, I learned that in these small town areas that I ain't gonna speak on nobody in general, but people are after your kids. People want your athletes. So what you're building is important, because if they buy into it, they ain't going nowhere. So if you want to go. If you don't want to be here, go. I'm fine with it. I want to be with the kids that wants to be here, because I tell all those kids, man, you got 5-10 months of football left. We got 5-10 years of building the program, and that's what we're after. So I tell them seniors, I got about 5 of them. I say, hey guys, y'all better get with it quick. I said, because if you don't get right, you get gone. Because I'll play them freshmen quick, because I got them for 4 years. So they're embracing it, man. We're on the right track. I'll tell you this. We got some guys that'll go up and get a ball. We got some guys that make some great cuts, and our line is fast. They can move in space and make quick decisions. They can find the guys. They can find them linebackers creeping out. We got it. We got it. We just got to put it together and make sure that we rep it constantly and make sure we focus on the basics, man. We got multiple run plays, we got multiple pass plays, but man, we're gonna focus on 3 or 4, and we're gonna roll through the season.
Take your financial game to the next level with Founders Federal Credit Union. Reach your full potential. Relax. Join Founders today. Visit an office near you or relaxjoinfounders.com to apply. Federally insured by NCUA, member qualification required.
Coach, couple quick and easy ones here before we let you go. Maybe in the home locker room as you're getting ready for a game, maybe on the bus to an away game. What's on that pregame playlist on Friday nights for you?
Oh man. Pregame, Young Jeezy. Sorry, Seacoast Church. Hey, I got deep roots in that Young Jeezy, T.I. life. I'll be honest with you, man. I kind of the start of my day, on a Friday, I don't want to be bothered. I want my door locked, and I got that laid back beach music playing. I got that Bob Marley. I got the Jimmy Buffett type music playing for majority of the day. But when I get behind that driver's seat and I'm headed to that away game and I put them earbuds in, or no, I don't. you know, but my pregame is, straight. I'm going to war. I got that vice versa. I got
Pastor Troy, love that.
I got that Pastor Troy in my life. I got that 3-6 Mafia Project Pat. I got that Headbuster World. I got it playing on my ears, but I'm very I don't know when y'all meet me, y'all know I met y'all. I believe at a state game, but I'll tell you this, man. I got a lot of energy. I got a lot of energy, and I'm bouncing in that seat. I'm hyped for them. I'm just as excited to watch them play as if I was strapping up. So I mean, I got that thuggish ruggish bone in me when I'm going into the game.
I love that. This is a question we ask everybody who joins the program, so you should be prepared for it. Food. Kevin and I are big foodies. What are some favorite restaurants you've been able to identify in that Wagener-Salley area?
Sue's Grill, Russell's Pizza. I'm a big coffee drinker, so Nana and Pops is a phenomenal place to go when you come through town, right there downtown. We got a Chinese spot that's pretty good too. But I'm gonna be honest with you, man. We got some individual, I guess, personal brand, places. Like some barbecue guys that set up shop downtown. JC Barbecues, Maurice Stroman. We got some good barbecue, man. We got some good. But I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I like the Piggly Wiggly. Just because it's quick.
That's
that
classic.
deli, man. I hit the pig all the time, man. And they know who I am, so they always overload my plate. So I got dinner after practice as well, So, guys, if I had to say anything, man, I do before we get out of here. I want to make sure that I shoot out our booster club. Shout out our booster club. The Wagener-Salley Athletic Booster Club is phenomenal. They are rebranded last year for over a year. They've raised over $30,000 for us. In 1 year, they've done a tremendous job supporting us and supplying us with everything. We got a great community. All our churches are feeding us. We got guys and gals and families of players that we reach out to and say, hey, man, we may need a fridge. We need a pregame meal. And it's seconds before I have multiple options. I mean, the businesses in our area have supported us for our ladies and men's clinics, whether it's t-shirts, meals, or providing anything for us, Gatorade, drinks, snacks. We got a phenomenal team and a phenomenal community at Wagener-Salley, and Wagener-Salley, Perry, that surrounding area right now has supported us really well, man, really well.
The last one here for you, Coach. What are some goals for that 2024 season for those War Eagles?
Hey, fundamentals first, discipline, trust, and love. That's where we got to start. We got to go into a game and be able to make proper first step reads, make sure we're reading the right people and being where our feet are and learning our position and being grounded and learning that, it's not my play every time to be made. It's my job to do what I'm asked to do every single day, every single down. And if I make a mistake, let it go. We got time to grow. We're going to be okay. I just want them to buy into the system. That's our goal. I would say, this or that, or, beat the rivals and all that good stuff. Some more team goals that will be announced. And, we do have them, win the team rival games, win the region, get in the playoffs, first seed, get to state. Those are yearly goals for us, but we got individual responsibility goals that we got to master first, and that's how that individual responsibility becomes a team responsibility, and make sure we focus on those things first. That's my goal, man, is to become a family and grow close together and focus on your responsibility and try to be the best at your craft, and that's what I'm preaching every day.
Well, Coach, this has been great. I know it's an exciting time in the Wagener-Salley community. You got the new high school coming and everything else like that. So I know they got a lot going on. So definitely want everyone to check you out on Twitter and Facebook. You guys do a great job, you and the program, kind of posting highlights of kids and updates. Definitely go follow Wagener-Salley and Coach Gillespie on Twitter and all those platforms there. Like I mentioned, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, etc. at Movin Chains, website movinchains.com, podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. Moving the Change, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. Drill. Anything else for Coach? We'll let him go today.
Coach Gillespie, thank you so much for your time. You're very gracious with it, of course. And, we just loved hearing your story, love hearing what your plans for the program, and just happy that you're a part of that community. Moving the Chains, we love going to those 1A, 2A, 3A communities because it's really special, and you're definitely at one of those special places. So we wish you continued success, lay that foundation, and we hope to get down there and catch you guys for a game this year.
Hey, I'm going to hold you to it, man. I want to see you there. I'm always open to media outlets and photographers, and make sure if anyone's in our surrounding area and you're growing, you're trying to build your portfolio, come see us, man. Hey, all you got to know is Brian Rimp. I got that from him. He always welcomes the media. So make sure you're there. Sure. I want to see you there. I'm going to hold you to it now. Go War Eagles, baby.
Coach, we appreciate it. Look forward to getting down to a game of practice and catching up again soon, and best of luck, all right?
All right. Thank you, sir.
Get ready for the ultimate South Carolina high school football experience with Movin the Chains. From previews to recaps, we've got you covered. Dive into our expert preview shows, predicting winners and sharing insights. Then join us post-game for the thrilling recaps, exclusive interviews, and highlights you won't find anywhere else. Plus, connect with fellow fans on our Friday night spaces on Twitter/X. No one covers South Carolina high school football like us. Join us at Movin Chains on all social media platforms and visit movinchains.com today.